I planted, Apollos watered, God made to grow. So, brother, the point should be this. We must leave the matter of growth to God. What we should do is just to plant the people into the proper church life and then water them. Don't try to help them to grow. If you try to help people to grow, you overstep. You see, you overstep. That is too much. That is not your capacity. It is not in the limit of your capacity. Neither in my capacity. None of us can make people to grow. Even the Apostle Paul cannot make people to grow. Only God. So I planted, Apollos watered, God gives the growth, or God made to grow. This means we have to have a strong point in the message that while we are planting and we are watering, we must have the assurance with a strong faith. Whatever we plant, whatever water will grow. God is here. God will give the growth. We must have the assurance. Listen, you should add a little bit. That is, never help people to grow. Never help people to grow. If you help people to grow, your helping is the plucking up. You know, I read a little story. A small boy noticed that the grass under his care didn't grow. So one morning he spent some time to pluck up the grass, to help the grass to grow up. Yeah, after a few minutes, all the grass, yes, grew up. Higher than yesterday. But after noontime, everyone died. You see, you may laugh at this foolish story. I tell this illustrate exactly what we are doing. In many churches, the elders are not planting, not watering, but are plucking up, helping the thing to grow. The more you help, the more they die. They don't grow. So we must have the assurance. Whatever we plant, whatever water, God will make grow. We go to rest. Don't do anything to make people grow. You cannot help people to grow. Growth is not of you. Growth is of God. God will what? Will additionally supply all these plants. Through what? Through the church life and our watering. As long as the still ones live in the church life. And as long as we water them, I tell you, you must have the assurance that God is making them grow. And they do grow. Don't help them to grow. Don't help. Be assured, every member of the church is a builder of the church. And this is clearly revealed in Ephesians 4:16. But the function of each part of the body. You see, everyone, including you, Paul's writing is really marvelous. We have pointed out in chapters 1 and 2, his underlying point thought was that Christ must be the center of God and must be the portion of the saints. Yet he wrote those two chapters not in such a simple way. And after that, his thought went on from Christ to the church. Right? But he wrote in a very, very meaningful and profitable and life-giving way. What is this way? The way of feeding, watering, for growing. He wrote this chapter in this way, in the feeding, watering, and growing way, or in the planting, watering, and growing way. From this point, he hit the church. You see, from this point, feeding, watering, and growing, he reached at the farm. Then out of the farm, you have the building. And then the building is just the church. You could see this. He talked about the church, yet so wonderful, he never used the word church. Isn't this wonderful? And the way he talked about the church is altogether in the way of life. It is not in the way of doctrine, and even not in the way of the doctrine of life, but in the way of the experience of life. He talked about the church in the way of life, in the way of experience. Listen to what he says. I planted, Apollos watered, but God made to grow, so that neither is the one who plants, that's me, anything, nor the one who waters, that's Apollos, anything, but the one who makes to grow, that's God. He is the real thing. He's the real thing, right? The planter, the waterer, both are nearly nothing. But God is the real thing that gives growth to the plants. Paul considered us, all the believers, plants, right? Plants. So here it says, as plants, we need the growth. We know this. For the plants, the most needful thing is to grow. We need the growth. Eternal life was given for growth, and the Holy Spirit was given for what? For growth. Brothers, you are infants. Brothers, you need to grow. Brothers, I cannot feed you with solid food, but with milk still today, the same. But I expect that from now on, you may grow. You may have a better digestion. Then I can feed you with the solid food. I say again, to read or to study the Bible, we need to get into the spirit of the writer. The spirit of the writer in this chapter is that to help those believers who really have received the initial gifts to realize what they have and what they need. What they have, divine life and the Holy Spirit. What they need to grow in these two things. To grow in the divine life and to grow in the Holy Spirit. And how could they grow? Well, some of the saints may water them, but only God Himself gives growth. So what? So they must go to God. And the watering ones must help them to come to God. Actually, to contact God is the watering. And the best watering is to contact God. If you can help a weaker one to contact God a little bit, I tell you, that is the real watering. And the watering, what? The watering brings the ingredients of life into these believers who have life already. And these ingredients will be added to them. And this will be additional supply of life. You see, then these dear ones spontaneously will grow.